What's up? You checking out the Frequent Flyer? We're going to talk about this Ducati Upriser. So this is a pretty unique motorcycle here, an RC motorcycle that self-balances, and it also has these little mecanum wheels on its back tire. My back tires are really filled with debris and everything because I have taken this thing outdoors to run it. Now, a lot of you guys probably saw other YouTubers running this. One in particular that I do remember, I remember watching the RC sellers with this little guy, and they actually gave it a bad review. You can't make a person like an RC if they just had a bad experience with it. My thoughts on this, my experience with this has been really positive. I really like this thing. I think just the fact that it was able to do a wheelie and balance itself on one wheel all by itself without moving, you know, basically just standing in place like that, doing a wheelie. I thought that was really awesome. And it does it with the press of a button. And this thing can self-balance. Right now I have its kickstand on it. There's a little stand there, a display stand to hold it up when you're not running it and whatnot. But when you turn this thing on, it self-balances all on its own. Let me see if I can show you guys that. So you're going to toss that down and check it out. Oh, it's not going to do it unless I turn this on. So you have to turn that on. This has an accelerometer inside of it. Check it out. So it's self-balancing all on its own. I won't try to get it to do a wheelie here because it'll probably knock something over because it backs up before it does a wheelie. But this thing is really awesome. I think that you guys should definitely give this thing a try. I don't think that any reviewer can really do it any justice, or I think you guys just need to experience this, because in my experience of this, I went into it thinking positive about it, and it turned out that this thing was everything that I was hoping that it would be. It self-balances. There's actually a learning curve to it. So when you first get it, well, I think there's a learning curve to it when you drive it outdoors. But when you drive it indoors on a hardwood floor or some smooth surface, this thing doesn't fall over. It stays standing up. It does donuts and all all while not falling, just self-balancing. It does wheelies. It goes up for wheelies and it comes out of wheelies and all. And it just does all of this without falling over. So I think that this thing is just totally awesome. A really nice demonstration of how far that we have gotten with technology to have a bike with just two wheels be able to self-balance and balance itself even on one wheel like this. And so yeah, I've been running it indoors a lot. This thing does spin outs and all. I usually run it. It's pretty fast indoors. Indoors it seems pretty fast. But outdoors, it's not as fast as a lot of RCs that I have driven. I can't say it's the fastest motorcycle that I have driven. This is supposed to be 1/6 scale, but I'm questioning if it's actually 1/6 scale because I have this other Walmart brand motorcycle. It's a Ducati too, and it's 1/6 scale, but well, it's claiming 1/6 scale, but check it out. If this is truly 1/6, then I think this would probably be like 1/7 scale. Yeah, this thing right here is totally awesome. The man on here does come off. The rider comes off. He has these little pads here built on the side of him, and they work pretty well. As you can see, I have scuffed mines up because that's usually where he lands when he falls over, whatnot. So that helps the bike not get all torn up. But check out the little mecanum wheels. These little wheels on here turn sideways. I guess this is where all the magic happens as far as the self-balancing and all, and balancing on a wheelie. I don't know what that is. Maybe there's some kind of a gyro in here, but I know definitely there's an accelerometer in here. And I think that's where Nate was probably having a problem balancing this thing, because I found that when you're balancing it, when you first started off with it, if you don't hold it perfectly still, it's kind of like the the quads that we fly, like the drones, the little toy drones that we have, you have to keep them perfectly still in order for them to take off. So if you have it in your hand or something, it'll have trouble self-leveling. But if you put it down on a flat surface, it'll like level up real quick. It'll level out and, you know, ready to fly. But this thing, you have to actually keep your hand on it. And so it's hard to get that accelerometer to level out for you. And right here in the front, it has lights. And these lights will flash and let you know when the accelerometer is, you know, leveling out. It'll do that quick flash that the drones usually do. And it also flashes to let you know when it's about to go up on a wheelie, or when it's about to come down from a wheelie, or when you press it. Whenever you press this stunt button on the transmitter here, those lights in the front flash to let you know that it's being pressed, and well, that this is receiving the button presses from this transmitter. Now, the transmitter here, it feels really cheap, really light, but it does work. It looks like it reminds me of the Air Hogs transmitters. Actually, I have an Air Hogs transmitter back there, and it looks to be identical. I think it's made by Spin Master as well. Well, let's check it out. This transmitter here goes to one of my favorite RCs, and that's the little guy that rides on a little flying surfboard or whatnot. But anyhow, check it out. Almost identical in shape, at least. We have this same switch down here on the bottom to switch modes or whatnot, and you have that same button. So definitely the same manufacturer. So let's toss that back there again. And so the transmitter, this left stick only moves up and down, and that's your throttle. You can also reverse and brake with it by pulling down. And this here only goes side to side, and this your steering left and right. And they don't press in or anything. This button here switches it from a smooth surface to a coarse surface, like a low carpet, or it does say concrete, but it says no dust or debris or anything like that, or gravel or anything like that. And so that's pretty much everywhere you go outdoors, you're going to find some rocks or some gravel or a little bit of dust and debris, dirt or whatnot. And so all of that affects the way this thing self-balances. So that's why it works better on a smooth surface. I would recommend trying this out in a gym or whatnot. If you have an RC club or whatnot where you fly at and run your RCs, this would be an awesome little thing to run in there. It probably would wow everybody that's in there, because everybody that I've seen checking me out, rolling this thing out, everybody usually look baffled when they see it standing up by itself and when it do the wheelie and all. It's just an awesome little piece of machinery here. A little RC motorcycle that self-balances. Now, the rider does pop off of this sometimes. It takes a really hard crash to pop them off, but I have had them come off, and you could just pop them back on. His arms can move back and forth. You just pull his little hands off of the steering. His arms do move. And you can spread his legs a little bit to get him off of here. It takes a little force to get him off. There you go there. We have these little levers here. Little levers to hold him on. Holes in the inside of his thighs to hold him on. And pretty hard plastic here, but it's not easy to break. So pretty sturdy this little guy is. You just pop him back on here, snap him down on it. And oh, I found that when you remove the driver, when you take the rider off, it doesn't drive as well. It doesn't do wheelies or anything like that. It misses on the wheelies. Even indoors, when you try to ride it without the rider on it, it seems like it's a lot faster though, but it just won't go up for a wheelie. When you try to do a wheelie, it will just lift up a little and come back down, and it'll shoot out forward when it tries to do that too. And so yeah, don't try to ride it without the rider on it. It's not recommended. Actually, in the instructions manual, it advise you not to try to ride it without the little rider on it. So I think it looks awesome. My favorite colors here, red and black. And let's see, this transmitter here is just like the little Air Hogs transmitter. You press this little button in here, and then this slides down, and you can fill this with 2 AAA batteries. That's all it takes. And it comes with this USB charging cable here to go in there to charge the battery that's in here. This is the on and off switch. That's the lights there. And it says that this has a 2S removable battery. I haven't really fooled with it to try to take the battery out, since you can just charge it while it's inside. But I think eventually I will open this thing up and pop the battery out. I think the battery goes right here underneath the seat. So I think I will pop that 2S battery out that's in there, and then try to run a better battery, maybe a G&B. We'll have this thing running a little harder. And if it does run a little harder, or if that improves its performance outdoors, I guess I'll do another video and show you guys that. I do plan to take this thing to a smooth surface, like a gym somewhere. I have a recreation center nearby in mind. But with this coronavirus thing going on, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a video. I'll try. But for now, I just took this thing out on a rough surface. So I'll just let you guys check that out. It did come with an instructions manual. The instructions manual is probably useless. It just doesn't explain things well. It has over 10 languages here, so it's just a lot of mess in here that you probably don't want to deal with. And they probably were mindful of that, so they included a little fold-out sheet which explains it a little better. So it does explain everything that you need to do to drive this little guy, front and back. Shows you how to do sliding turns and all. So my driving experience with this has been mostly positive. It does sliding turns. When you hold that stunt button, you can get this thing to do pull off sliding turns, and it's just amazing to see it do that without any kickstands or support or anything like that. And what I mean by kickstands or support, this little Walmart brand, usually the motorcycles have these little training wheels, I like to call them, on the sides to keep the things up so that they don't tip over. This little Upriser does sliding turns and runs without a kickstand or anything. If you ask me, this thing is totally awesome. I'll just show you guys the running video so you can check it out and decide for yourselves if you think you want to try it or not. I say that this thing is a go, definitely. So let's go check it out. All right, y'all, so we out here with the Upriser right here, the Ducati Upriser. I plan on doing another video in a gym somewhere, maybe at a recreation center nearby. I have one in mind. But as for now, we're out here in this rocky parking lot here. So hopefully this thing can do a little running. It runs excellent in the house on hardwood floor. Does everything that it's supposed to do. But let's check it out now. Let's see, we're going to turn the transmitter on. We're going to turn the switch it, the motorcycle on. And it's acting real weird. Well, we're up now. So let's try to run it and see what it does. Actually, let's try to get a quick wheelie while we're here. Hit that button, see what it's going to do. And we're up on a wheelie. Transmitter's down there, it's bouncing on its own, so let's get it. Got the phone on the hat. So it's bouncing pretty nice. Do a little bit forward running. Check it out. So it's not bad. That's the speed, top speed on it. So mine runs pretty well. I don't know, I was watching the RC sellers and Nate was having a big problem with his. I only seem to have problems when I hit rocks and all. You can do sliding turns with this thing too. I'm gonna attempt to show you guys that. If you hit the turn and you hold this button, this stunt button, it does a sliding turn. So let's see if I can make it do it. I guess that was a little bit of a sliding turn. Let's see if we can slow it down and do some burnouts. Oh, went down on the first burnout attempt. Let's sit it back up again. So let's see if we can do donuts. Look, I stopped a little early. It seems to have trouble staying up sometimes. Out here, it stays up like a tent indoors. So that's the donuts. It looked like it tripped. It's not supposed to fall over actually after it stops. But we're out here on the rockiness. So check it out. Man, yeah, it's pretty bad out here, pretty rough for it. At least it does do the donuts though. It just seems like you have problems stopping. Oh, there is a switch on here to switch it to course. So we have it on course environment. Let's see if that helps any. Oh, that seems to have helped. We're not falling over anymore. Check it out. Oh, saw that rock there. Tripped it. This little rock was in the way. So let's check it out again. Now, if you ask me, I think this is totally awesome. I don't know any other toy motorcycles that'll do this. This is by far the best toy motorcycle I've seen. You know, staying up on its own and all of that stuff. I decided to go and then tried to stop, slow it down, but let's keep it moving. Now, if you ask me, you can't really expect this thing not to fall at all, being that it self-balances and all. So it looked like we had a spin out over here without any debris. There's some rocks or any, there's a few rocks over here, but I don't think it really hit a rock or anything. I think it's just what happens sometimes. Check it out, we're up again. We do have that other setting on here. So it's running nice. Check it out, y'all. Through the rocks. Trying to do a sliding turn there. It did. There it is right there, sliding turn. Got a little wobbly and we're moving a little too fast with it. But so far this thing has been still impressing me. All the things that it's doing. Check out a wheelie. Oh. Didn't pull all the way up on the wheelie. Let's see if we can get it again. It seemed like it was running a little better with the smooth setting on. But we're up on a wheelie again. Check it out. And you can actually control the wheelie somewhat. You can make it go to the side a little. So he's holding the wheelie. Let's come down. Here we go. It's a learning curve on this thing. When it's doing a turn, you have to know when to give it throttle. If it looks like it's about to fall over, then you just give it some throttle, and usually that stops it from falling over. Or if you give it too much throttle, it does that. So let's try it again. We're not going to stay out here all day with this thing because it does have a pretty long run time. I think it runs for about 15 minutes. is what's advertised, and it does seem to be pretty close to that. Because indoors, I play with this thing a lot, and it's a lot of time that you have with this thing, especially indoors where you don't have far to run it really. Check it out. Still running it. So mine, it doesn't fall nearly as much as Nate's seems to fall. Well, had to give it some throttle to keep it up right there. And that's top speed there. I'm slowing down a little. Oh, let's try to bring it. Oh, I try to do a sharp turn there. Now this thing is a blast to play with indoors as well in a small area, because you can get it to balance, and then you can go in a straight line. You can drive it in a straight line and then stop, and then you can sort of do a donut in order to come back the other direction. Check it out. So this is usually what I do indoors. Well, it didn't hold up that time, but usually indoors it doesn't fall. And so what I do is drive it in a straight line, and then when I get to the end of my run, I'll stop it and just make them do donuts to come back. Uh-oh, we got some rocks over there. Still pulled it out. Check them out. Oh, did a sliding turn there. Y'all saw it? Check it out. Sliding turn there. This thing is awesome. Oh, spun out. So I guess that's all of a run we're going to do out here. I'm pretty sure that when I get this thing inside of a gym on a smooth hardwood floor, it's going to perform a lot better. It sounds a lot better, and it performs the tricks a lot better indoors. So I guess we're going to sign off on this Willie here. The Upriser.